Hello, I am Eddus. What's my name again? Hello, this is Eddus, and in an occasional series, because I don't want the pressure of having to do it every week, I will tell you what I have been reading this week and why it was good. And maybe I will read a bit of it to you. So here you go. This is the YouTube section. Do you like my doppelganger mug and how I have become my own mug? So this week I have been reading How to Be a Poet. Bell, there's my bookmark. How to Be a Poet, Bell and Jane Commane. I hope I pronounced your surname correctly, Jane. I have never heard it spoken aloud before, I'm afraid. This is an amazing handbook about being a poet, the poet's life. If you're already a poet, what can you do to improve your practice and your art form? And it's full of really, really, really insightful, really helpful, really solid, warm, brilliant advice that I lapped up like it was a delicious tiramisu. So I really recommend it if you're interested in poetry, which you may well be if we have things in common, then I would recommend you look into this book. The way it's set out is just various chapters, but they're also, I know it sounds silly, but they're also quite like compact and short. So in the space of a bus ride, which is how I measure my time, in the mornings and the evenings, to and from work, traditionally, is how one commutes. I could read like 4 or 5 little chapters, maybe not 5, maybe 3 or 4, really take them in and then like read something else. And the fact that you can read and then the fact that it's short enough that you can come back and really kind of reread, very easily get to the point of what you want, means that the book really works really well. It's like a handbook, it's like a manual, which is great. So I really recommend it. And I feel like it's going to be one of those books that I just have on my desk, and every now and again, if I'm having a bit of a wobble, which happens semi-regularly, I can go back and read like the section on Why Use Poetic Form by Mona Ashi. Yeah, there are a few kind of guest writers kind of in the mix as well. So Jane and Joe do chapters on different subjects that kind of interweave, and then there are some other kind of guest subjects from other contemporary writers as well, which I thought was really great because you get all the different perspectives. So yeah, I recommend it. So that's one thing that I've been reading this week. This week, I don't know what kicked off. I saw one of her poems on Twitter, and then I was like, oh, I could do some more Mary Oliver. So this week, I have been reading Thirst, poems by Mary Oliver, which is really amazing. I didn't really know what I was going to get myself into when I ordered this, so when it came, I knew this one poem from it called Prayer or Praying 36. I'll be reading it later. So I knew this one poem called Praying that someone put on Twitter, and I was like, well, that's amazing. And Mary Oliver's always been kind of about in my kind of poetic consciousness for a while, so I was keen to get, I think I do have one or two of her collections knocking about somewhere, but I thought I'd get another one like this one with that poem in, just to see what she was doing in the rest of the collection and, you know, that kind of stuff. So it turns out it's a very, very emotional, very sad kind of book about mourning the loss of your partner and finding God, which is like, it's so heavy, but I'm really glad I'm reading it because it's such a different perspective from the kind of stuff that I would usually read. And if you can kind of get through if you can kind of just take all of the religious stuff without finding it too much, which I think I can do, it's really beautiful, and it has a really light touch, and it's the kind of thing where her work is incredibly direct, and it's incredibly about the moment and then the universal kind of moment on top, and that's it. And there's some really beautiful poems in here. Also, what I really like about it is that she does that thing where there's like a normal line and then she kind of tabs in and the line is kind of stepped. So all the stanzas, not all of them, but in some of the poems, are kind of one line there, one line there, one line there. And it kind of makes the poem kind of cascades down the page in a very attractive looking kind of soft way, which I really like. So I've been stealing that for my own poems. So this is what I was trying to describe, the way that the lines kind of cascade down the page. Isn't that nice? So yeah, so now I'm going to put in like a bit where I read one of the poems with like the close-up thing on the camera. So that will happen in a second. Praying. It doesn't have to be the blue iris. It could be weeds in a vacant lot or a few small stones. Just pay attention. Then patch a few words together and don't try to make them elaborate. This isn't a contest, but a doorway into thanks, and a silence in which another voice may speak. So these have been my books for this week. A week in March where loads of awful things are happening in the world, and I'd rather kind of retreat to the world of poetry to deal with it, and I think that's fine. So let me know what you've been reading and give me any poetry or non-poetry recommendations. I'd really appreciate it. And we'll see if I ever do this again. So yeah, bye!